Yo, what's up? Welcome everybody to, I guess this will be the introductory video. Um, and, I'm kind of doing this as a leap of faith. Call this a podcast or a vlog or whatever you want to call it. I guess it's just a way for me to kind of put my story out there, the story of my family, I should say, and what God has been doing in it with regards to, dealing with a lot of I dare say traumatic events in our lives. And so, I'm not necessarily looking to become a influencer or anything like that. This is really just to kind of put, again, our testimony out there and kind of to connect with, fathers, parents, people that have gone through really tough times as it pertains to their kids. And I guess just in general, if you are a Christian, a believer in Yeshua the Messiah, that even in pain, we can find purpose. And I know that sounds cliche, and I know that sounds sometimes just impossible, but the reality is my family and I wouldn't be where we are right now without him. I got to give praise to the Most High and his son Jesus. I have to. I'm thankful that his Holy Spirit has been with us through the toughest times in my life, things that I never imagined that we would have gone through. And so, again, this is just a place that I will just kind of, again, taking a leap of faith. Maybe this will be seen by one individual. Maybe it will be seen by a dozen. Maybe it will be seen by more than that. Only God knows. What I will say is, if you are in the process of raising a family, or even if you're part of a family that is dealing with very tough times and very challenging situations, even when you don't see any hope, it doesn't mean that it's not there. And I guess I'll just give a little testimony as to who I am and what we've been through, what God has allowed us to go through, and where we're at the moment. And so, back in 2018, my middle daughter had developed a neurological disorder. With that, some digestive issues, being unable to eat, being unable to hold anything down, and she literally went a full calendar year without being able to eat something and fully digest it. She was unable to hold it without throwing it up. And the hospital couldn't figure out what it was, just through my own obsessive, just being a dad and trying to fix it, because that's what we do. I did my own research, which, doesn't mean just going on YouTube and watching videos, but like literally reading medical journals and articles and reaching out to people. And ironically enough, it was a YouTube video that that kind of led me to contact an individual that was able to give me some more direction. And so, long story short, through my own, again, obsessive research, we ended up finding out where the hospital could not, that my daughter had something called postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, or POTS, with subsequent orthostatic hypotension, which is, basically what the original diagnosis said, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome with subsequent orthostatic hypotension. In addition to that, she had gastroparesis, rumination syndrome. But throughout that whole year, she never really wanted to play ball. And I mean, who could, I can't really judge her or blame her for that. She was 14 years old, celebrated her birthday there in the hospital bed, blowing out the candle to a cupcake that she couldn't eat. It was one of the hardest things. I remember I couldn't even talk about it at some point, up to recently, without getting emotional. Just that particular memory right there. She left the hospital with an NG tube, which is essentially a tube to the nose that goes down to the stomach to feed her a formula, since she couldn't eat anything. That wasn't working because she was still throwing up the formula. So they had to essentially put in an NJ tube, which bypasses her stomach into her jejunum, which is the upper part of the intestine. And we left the hospital with that with no answers. And again, so just throughout my own research, and contacting a doctor from the Mayo Clinic after seeing some sort of online docudrama. Basically, he reached out to me. I called our pediatrician was able to get us into a neurologist. The pediatrician neurologist didn't know anything about it as far as the disorder was concerned. So he referred us to he had to call in a favor for, an adult neurologist here in the city was able to conduct a table tilt test that confirmed, as I said, she had POTS and OH. A common comorbidity with that is gastroparesis. In addition to that, rumination syndrome, which does have some tie-ins with, the mental portion of ruminating, in which you're just thinking about something again and again and again, nonstop. Throughout that year, my daughter did not want to play ball as far as the treatment was concerned. Of course, I was a huge control freak in that. There was cognitive behavioral therapy there as far as, breathing techniques for the stomach pains and, how to control the ruminating and whatnot. As far as the neurological was concerned, there really wasn't a lot they could do aside from some medication to actually increase her blood pressure, since it was so low. To those of y'all who don't know what POTS is, it essentially does, there's some issues. It's a lot more technical and complex in the way I'm going to break it down. But basically, it messes with your cardiovascular system in that you cannot sustain a regular blood pressure consistently. And there's a lot of variables as to why that is. But basically, she would pass out a lot. And because, that's sort of the body's way of resetting because the blood pressure would get too low. And so, you pass out and now gravity is even and now you're getting blood everywhere else. And so, they gave her some medication for that and, again, some cognitive behavioral therapy and other things. But just even at the latter part of that year is when I don't like to say it, but I like to say it when we met her eating disorder at the latter part of that year. And that was terrible. That was absolutely terrible. And the truth is, it's sort of a chicken and an egg situation because, that kind of revealed a lot more traumas that my daughter had gone through as a child and a lot more hurts and things. We don't really know at that point what came first, the eating disorder or the neurological disorder. Now, don't get me wrong, not everybody that has some form of dysautonomia has an eating disorder. But people that have eating disorders or experience disordered eatings are more prone to neurological disorders because of the malnutrition and again, there's other variables there. But we don't really know in this case. And, I guess at this point it doesn't really matter. What matters is that, we realized that the problem was a lot worse. As a dad, I had this illusion of control in that, I thought I had everything figured out. I thought I knew what the problem was, so I knew how to fix it because this is my baby girl and I got to fix it. And the more I did that, the more the ground beneath me was just crumbling. She had to go away for extended periods of time for, both the neurological and then, of course, primarily the eating disorder. I will say, thank God, that, after about a year, the neurological issues, for all intents and purposes, became dormant. I will praise God and say that He healed her of that. But the psychological issues were very prevalent at that point. A lot of self-harm, a lot of, again, disordered eating traits, purging and restricting, and suicidal ideation throughout the years, and even some attempts, and it's hard. It's hard. I really had to lean on my faith, even when my faith was just up here. There were times I wanted to walk away from the faith. There were times I wanted to just say, man, I wish I never knew you, God, because, you're allowing this to happen and you're allowing this to happen. And I prayed and had people come and fast and lay hands and, you name it. I mean, we were doing it. I was just so, what it was? I felt like specifically with those, keep in mind, I think I knew back then, but I certainly have a better understanding of it now. There was this supreme ignorance to me, or arrogance rather. There was a supreme arrogance that I had that essentially said all psychological disorders are merely the manifestation of some sort of spiritual attack, something demonic. Now, I know a lot of Christians, specifically charismatic Christians, will simply just say it's a demon, it's a demon, it's a demon, and that's pretty much it. I don't subscribe to writing off the very real scientific facts of neurotransmitters in one's brain, what people call the brain chemicals, things like serotonin. There's so many facets to these problems, and looking at them, I definitely don't deny the physiological truth of the way our body works, the way our minds work, and the psychological. So I never really approached it completely closed-minded, but I understood. At least I thought I did, right? Just again, I mean, when I say I do research, it doesn't mean just going on YouTube and watching videos. Like I've studied books, I've researched things on metaphysics and deeper philosophical spirituality with regards to the. Sorry about that. My daughter just texted me. With regards to, I thought I had an understanding of it in that if I could approach this the way Elijah did, against the priest of Baal, in that my God can do this. Like you're sitting here flexing. It was really more towards these doctors that were just pushing to get my daughter on SSRIs. Selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, basically psych meds. I was so against that at first. I really was. I was so against that. And that I think stems from my knowledge of, nobody can really deny the pharmaceutical industrial complex of this country is sort of at the mercy of sometimes. But, I really was trying to say, well, my God's going to heal her, my God's going to heal her, my God's going to heal her, and then my God really wasn't doing what I was asking him to do. I was trying to, metaphorically call down fire from the heavens, and, that just never happened. And so I'm not a person that says that God did this to my family. I'm a person that wholly believes that God is sovereign and he allows things to happen for a reason. Through this journey, I can tell you that he has humbled me greatly. Eventually my daughter did begin taking medication, although, she has a really good psychologist. We were very, very strategic in the manner in which, we began to put her on the doses and found what's working and what's right. I am still very hopeful that she will not be needing them for the rest of her life. Even her psychologist does believe that a lot of her issues are, trauma-based and that they require therapy, not just the use of medication. And so certainly it's a utility that's there. My perception on it has somewhat changed, although I'm still, again, obviously I'm going to recommend something more natural if that's something she wants to do as she gets older. That's completely up to her. And we can have conversations later down the road as far as to what I consider those supplements to be, or those substitutions to be. But in any case, there was a lot of going away for extended periods of time for her. She went to Plano multiple times. My wife had to go with her. I had to kind of play mom and dad to my other kids that were here, particularly my two younger ones. My two older ones were pretty much, well, except for my oldest daughter, I should say. That was pretty hard for her. She had her senior year, but she had to spend the first semester with my wife not being here, and so that was really tough on her. That, and then, of course, seeing her baby sister go through all the stuff she went through. So, she went there. She, a few inpatient stays here and there. She went, in Houston. She even went to a residential facility out there in Conroe. It's just really, really tough. There's been places here like Belton, here in Austin, a couple of places. So I mean, there's just a lot of extended time away from the family, and each time it's been the result of some sort of incident or something that happened, some sort of attempt that she made, against herself, and it's hard. It's just hard as a father to experience that, to go through that, to see your kids go through that, and to not see God move in the manner that you want Him to. I can't really say there's been a tougher time in me trying to see the purpose of my faith, right? Sorry about that. I'm really thirsty. So I guess the gist of it all is this. We went from a place and seeing my daughter hate herself, hate life, was struggling with body dysmorphic disorder, and seeing herself a way that she believed she was, which she wasn't. Practically begging us or threatening us to affirm that belief, or to watch her continue to harm herself. And so we realized she needed more and more help. We went from feeling hopeless. We went from being destroyed as a family and just completely wrecked to slowly but surely, in God's time, not in my time, finding healing. For the first time in 5 years, I can tell you, because my daughter sort of goes as I go, and I sort of go where she goes, because we're both kind of watching each other all the time as far as our reactions. We are beginning to press into hope. And it's scary. It is. I'm not going to lie. It is scary, because in the past, anytime we even thought of pressing into hope, something would happen. Another event would happen. Another occurrence would happen. And, this is scary for both of us, for all of us. But, she's talking about her graduation, which is coming up next May. She's talking about her prospects after high school, be it college or some form of a career or trade school or something like that, and just plans afterwards. And she's talking about even she mentioned about her marriage, and when she gets married one day, obviously to the right guy, hopefully. If I got anything to say about it. But it's like these are things she never would have even thought of talking about. Heck, I dare even say a year and a half ago. I can't say that we are out of the woods. I can't say that we are, completely free of this. Like I feel like, the dad who's constantly looking under the bed for the boogeyman, in which in this case the boogeyman is her eating disorder. It's this body dysmorphic disorder. It is these unclean spirits, if you would, that lie to her about who she is, and about what she is. But just to see that glimmer of hope for the first time, and maybe the truth is, maybe it's been there for some time. I was just too afraid to look at it. But actually taking a glance at it now and beginning to slowly press into it, it gives me hope even more. It just kind of compounds and like a snowball effect. Like it just starts to give me hope for the future. Again, she still struggles. She still has these thoughts. She still has these ideations sometimes. And I hate that. I do. I absolutely hate that. I always say that every single day God gives my family the strength to endure the battle for the next day. And I'm grateful for that. But my prayer always has been, can the war be over? Right? Can we behead this giant and enjoy a lap of victory? I'm going to keep praying that. I'm going to continue praying that. But I am, we're still very much in the thick of this as far as constantly being on the lookout. She does regularly see a therapist I regularly see a therapist now. I know that especially for guys my age, that's not something very common. Excuse me, or rather, it's not something that was commonly promoted in my generation. You were always seen as weak, to bury your emotions and confront them and deal with them and process them, as the therapists always say. But man, if I could go back in time and find myself, my younger self, I mean, there's plenty of other things I would smack myself around for, let me tell you that. But that's a whole other conversation, right? I would certainly teach myself to give myself a lot more grace. Because again, I think it's that mindset that we have to do everything, we have to sort of bear these burdens as men alone. That really put me in a position to never forgive myself, to never go easy on myself, to always be hard on myself. And again, I do think that this culture, specifically this generation, is utilizes therapy a bit too much, maybe, as far as things. Because when I say trauma, I mean getting phone calls saying that your baby girl did XYZ to herself, having to go to the ER because of XYZ. There's so many other things there, right? And so many of y'all maybe have endured even worse things than that. I'm certainly not talking about middle-aged or young-aged dude with a goatee and a beanie in the middle of the summertime crying at Starbucks because they forgot to put soy milk in his latte. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about real, authentic trauma, and things that just like knock you off your feet in life. It still affects me sometimes to this day, as far as just what they call anxiety or certain sensations where you're like, yo, man, maybe I should go to the doctor and get checked out, this and that, and they run this test and that test. They're like, yo, dude, you're healthy. You're healthy. You're good. I've dealt with that pretty recently, lately, and go to check my vitals and blood tests just to make sure I'm good. They're like, yeah, ticker's good, blood pressure's good, blood sugar's good, this is good, this is good. Like, dude, yeah, you're just stressing. You're just stressing. And of course, there are other factors there. I hate to I'm not pleased to say there are other factors that contribute to my stress. Other children in my life that I have, but in any case, the point of all of this is to kind of put myself out there, reach out to people. I'm sure there'll be some comments that I probably won't even bother reading because I don't think I'm in a position to really do that right now. The point of this is to say, hey, if you're going through something right now, specifically if you're a parent and you're going through something right now with your kids, and it is hard and it is breaking you to your very core, and it's making you even question, where are you, God? I am here to say that there is purpose in that pain. Even if I can't say what the purpose in all the pain that I've been experiencing is, I can certainly say that I have faith that what I don't see will, at some point in my existence, be made evident to me. I think that, be it in this life or in the afterlife, God will reveal to me why this had to happen and why this had to happen and why this had to happen. But as far as my time here between now and glory, it doesn't matter why. Because the truth is, I don't think, especially here in my this feeble mind that I have, I don't think there's going to be an answer that would ever make me say, well, that makes it okay. Maybe one day, yeah, but right now, with everything that my family has gone through, maybe not yet. But, that's the point of this all. Ideally, I would love to be able to interview people that have gone through similar things, if not worse. and just we can kind of bounce that hope off of each other. How did you get through this? How did you get through that? Have you ever dealt with this situation? Have you ever dealt with that situation? Again, this isn't to make public that which, doesn't necessarily have to be made public as far as the details. And, even I want to be sensitive to, certain details with my daughter's situation. She's able to tell her own story. But as far as how it affected me and the ins and the outs of my struggles and fighting through all this, I'm certainly going to share all that. So, grace and peace to you all. Hit the like and subscribe button if it's something that you are interested in hearing. Again, I think this is, for the moment, a vlog more than anything with regards to how I deal with a lot of these stresses and raising kids in such a broken time, such a messed up time right now. And there are a lot of reasons for that. There are so many variables as to why, but I think the chief one is that a lot of us just need to return to our first love, which to me is Jesus. And so I'm doing my best to try and find my way back to Him in that regard. Because like I said, this whole journey certainly has been one that has wounded me. It's funny. I remember. Gosh, it's certainly been longer than I wanted it to be, but the group of fellas that I hook up with every once in a while, we would meet up on a Saturday and go, just have breakfast and start talking about life and, where we are in life, just being like raw and very, very authentic, you know what I'm saying? We weren't there trying to put on our Christian masks and try to be holier than thou or try to say this, that, and that. Nah, we're like, yeah, man, I messed up. Yeah, man, like this sucks. Yeah, my daughter this, my son this, my blah, blah, blah. But it was really funny to me. I was just sitting there watching these, middle-aged men talk about raising kids, and it was like, man, I feel like we're a bunch of war veterans, and I don't say that lightly because I've got, family who have served in the military, and I've lost a friend, and who died in war, and and I know some of y'all have served this country too as well, which you do have my profound and deepest gratitude for that. Regardless of what the motives or intentions were behind it, I do believe that the heart is what matters there, and so I do thank you for that. But just looking at us, it's like, damn, man, we just seem like a bunch of grizzled old men that's like battle damaged emotionally and psychologically, and just trying to raise kids in this very, very messed up world. So I always thought that was funny, but I'm starting to see why. Why it seemed that way. So that's pretty much it. Again, I will do my best because I am just starting off here, and maybe in response to certain comments, again, I know there are trolls out there, and again, I don't even know if I don't know. I don't know. I will do my best to read and respond to any if they are there. If anybody on my social media, list of friends or contacts, I'll do my best to respond to questions and things like that. I'm going to do my best to put some videos out at least once a month. I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on if the interest is there or if there's contacts there for me to engage in or questions or things like that. That's that. So grace and peace to you all. We're gonna see where this goes, man. I think I've felt led to kind of do something like this for quite some time. For those of y'all that are friends with me on Facebook, y'all know I used to regularly put out vlogs, kind of get my thoughts on current events, music. I'm a hip hop head as far as just the culture itself, politics, sports. I'm a big big San Antonio Spurs fan. I know we're going through a rough patch right now, but more than anything, my faith. I talk a lot about my faith. Um, so I think I tried to put out something like every other week or once a month or something like that. But then all this stuff started happening with my family and things like that just kind of came to a pause. So, but yeah, I appreciate y'all. Again, if you are interested, up to you. It don't matter to me. But if you want to hit the like and subscribe button, you certainly can. Purpose in my pain, or purpose in the pain, I should say. I was originally going to call this channel Purpose in My Pain, but then I recognized that created an acronym that I wasn't too fond of. So yeah, so Purpose in the Pain. I do have a blog as well that I try to write my thoughts. I do write some poetry out there as well. Well, we'll see where this goes, man. This is, like I said, I may do this for a year. I may do this for longer. One person may see this and benefit. Nobody may see this and benefit from it, but it's in God's hands, and technically in y'all's hands too, as far as you hit the like and subscribe or what have you. But that's it. We'll see where this goes. Grace and peace to you all. Much love. All right, peace.